This week we are finally doing the dual battery system in the Nissan GU Patrol. Proudly supported by Outback Equipment, Tread, and in part by. Just started raining as I turned up here, so I'm trying to keep in out of the rain. Down here at Hastings Auto Electrical, the same guys that did the dual battery system in the nav did an absolutely killer job, so I trusted them to do the Patrol again. Been super keen to get this done because it has been a little bit painful not having a proper dual battery system and a place to charge all my camera gear and run the fridge and camp lights and things like that. Coming up with the dual battery system for this car has been a little bit of an interesting one. The main issue we face is that I need to keep this as a 7-seat car. Between me and my partner, we have 4 kids, so technically a 6-seater, but we'd rather have the option of 7 seats. When we're away on trips, we'd rather sit 2-2 rather than 3 and 1 squished together. So we needed to work around that. So that means most of our boot space is gone. There's not enough space under the engine bay to fit a dual battery system. We sort of spent like couple of hours sorting through all our potential options, so I won't bore you to death with all that. Option we've finally come to, which what we think is going to be the best way to do it. I'll run through that now, and I'll run through the gear we're going to be using as well. Firstly, the gear we're going to be using, some of it is old stuff pulled out of the nav. So the nav's got a full red arc dual battery system now. For this, we're going a Victron system, which is using some of the old parts. So this is out of the nav. This is my old one, which is a DC-DC charger, 30 amps I believe it is. And now I've got 2 new parts, which I've worked with Marine Battery Co. for these. They've sort of helped provide the parts and come up with a bit of their design as well. So they've provided a Fusion lithium battery. It's a 100 amp hour lithium battery. You know, it's got a 3-year warranty on it. It's got your voltage and stuff on the top. Being lithium means you can use 80-90% of it. So 100 amp hour, you can use your 80 to 90 amp hours of it, compared to an AGM, which is much heavier, like 3 times the weight. Like, this is not too heavy at all. I'm estimating maybe around the 10 kilo mark for that, and you get so much more power out of it, and they charge much more efficiently too. Lithium definitely seems to be the way that a lot of people are going these days, and because the dual battery system is so important to me, being what I do, charging like my camera gear on the road, this is what it's all about for me. And then the final main piece of the puzzle is a 1200 watt inverter. I did have a 2000 watt inverter in the nav, but I sold that and got the smaller one instead. It just means that, yeah, you don't have a massive inverter that you're not even going to make the most of. So once we had the parts, it was just coming up with a plan of where and how to mount this. And we didn't really want to go hacking out like the sides and trying to bury it in there and cutting the car up. How we're going to do it is we're going to have the battery there, the inverter there, and the DC-DC charger on top here somewhere. And Josh, who's going to do it, is going to build a battery box that's going to go around this whole thing. It's basically going to end up being an advanced version of a portable dual battery system, really. So he's going to run cables from the battery down through the car out to the back here, where it's just going to connect this box in via Anderson plug, and probably have another lead coming out of the box to run lights. We're going to run some lights in to light up this area when we're camping. But it's a fully sort of removable, interchangeable, do what you want with setup. We can't just build some big jaw system in here and fridge and proper setup. Everything has to be able to like get in and out without too much of a hassle. This was the other part we pulled out of the nav, a solar controller. I was originally thinking and planning of putting solar in the Patrol too, so that's why I got this here, but I've just had a talk about it. When we camp, we move basically night to night. We're not going and setting up at a place for ages. So we're just going to forget this. There's no need for it. And I won't bother Josh too much because he's sitting over there having lunch, but this is his setup here where he's going to be building it over the next day or two. So you got, obviously, what's this you're building with? I just said I wouldn't disturb you, but I am. Is this just plyboard wood? It's just ply. So ply, and then you're going to put marine carpet or something over the top of it. Still working out exactly what lights we're going to use, but maybe, you know, we've got these drifter stocks and LED lights here, may use them. We'll see sort of what fits. Well, I mean Josh, will see what fits, because I'll be at home while you'll be here working. And then obviously we got some sockets here. We're going to use, you know, USB and 12 volt ones and stuff like that.
Got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts, but it's checkmate, we ain't selling short.
Back here again, day 2 at Hastings. Come in to annoy Josh again and check in how he's going with the dual batch systems. Obviously started putting together the box. I'm back here early Tuesday morning, so he's only had a few hours to work on it so far, but started putting together the box. Cut holes in it for air vents type thing.
Yeah, basically, all this Victron energy gear has like built-in fans, so we really don't want to cook all the internals of the electricals inside this box. So
give it a bit of weight too.
It's yeah, you know, and aesthetically, once this is all trimmed up and like once the box is sort of finalised and complete, it will look pretty cool.
So don't look too hard yet.
Yeah, don't look too hard because it's not
in the very early
finished.
phases.
We're really trying to. I want to make it look pretty cool, so we're gonna trim it up. We'll do some felt. We might paint the inside of it. We might build like a little lip section around the top, so when all the charge gear sits on top of the box. And we're going to have a whole heap of outlets and
you got handles on the side there, so you can pull it in and out. So battery, inverter. Where are you going to put the DC to DC charger? What's your plan there?
DC charger, kind of. Sort of levitates at the moment, but it's basically going to sit in something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Just mounts in, screws in from the side of the box. A little bit of an air gap between the timber and the inverter, and then we'll just incorporate all the cabling, the wiring. All the fusing. I'm going to try and have everything internal. As far as wiring this goes, the largest cabling that's going to go into this is between the battery and the inverter, and we need a big fuse on that. So I'm basically going to go, battery, fuse, inverter, and then we're going to do our inputs. So input to the chargers, output, fused, battery, and then all our smaller accessories and stuff. I'm probably going to put a couple of little battery posts in, which will fuse from the battery to the post. And then we'll have a smaller fuse box off that to then power our smaller devices. We've got to take into account the depth for this sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, true. So once it goes through the lid.
Yeah, I've tried to just leave a lot of space just to keep everything like aerated, but also like I can make all the cabling really tidy and nice and flowy and make it a bit easier to follow rather than just like, you know, just chucking everything in and, you know, just slam the lid on. I want to go to a bit more effort than that. So,
try and make it look nice.
Yeah, you got to make everything look nice, you know. Like it's
especially with electrical stuff, people get very upset if it doesn't look nice.
100%. We've got to please the internet.
Yeah, so how are we going to switch that inverter on and off so it's not running? Because you said inverter, you leave it on, draws about 2 amps per hour, even if you're not using it.
Yeah.
So what's your plan there to be able to just activate it when you want to use it?
So if you come down, just on the face, there's a little loop wire just there.
Oh, yeah.
So basically right now that's looped in. So if I powered that inverter up, it would be on.
Yeah.
But what I can do, I can switch there's like a little rocker switch. I can flick that to remote switch and then put an external switch in, intercepting that loop wire to flick the inverter on and off.
Yeah, okay.
So the inverter will have power all the time, but it's like an ignition wire to say on.
All I heard was you can switch it on and off.
We can switch it on and off.
That's all I heard there.
I'll put like maybe like a little illuminated LED switch in.
Yeah, okay.
So that way you'll know if that switch is illuminated, you know it's going to be on. So. I'm far ahead and got a run last. But we ain't letting up, we never done that. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. 'Cause I'll be on the way. Yeah. You know I'll be on the way.
Back down here at Hastings again, finally picking up the box. So Josh is all finished. He's had it for a few days now and come back here to pick it up. And he's gonna run us through it all. I'm stoked of how it came out. It looks awesome. When I got here, Josh was super excited to show me, but I said to wait so we can do it on camera because you haven't really shown me yet. So it looks bloody good. Because we sort of saw it when it was to get like halfway together, and you said don't look too close.
Yeah.
So can we look close now? You happy with how it came out?
Yeah, for sure.
You've got your charging points on top here.
Yep. Basically just an external like mains lighting switch. So this turns on an Anderson plug on the back of the box. And then we've sort of pre-wired the back of the wagon so we can put some drifter lighting across the top. The next one is we just put lights in stuff. So we always put some red lighting or coloured lighting in pretty much most things that we do.
So just make it look cool.
It's just a cool boy feature. And the next one is just an inverter switch. So again, the inverters, they pull a few amps just being on standby. So being able to switch them on and off is a good option, so it doesn't flatten the battery. So
Because I've left an inverter on by accident before, and after a couple of days, your battery's dead.
Yeah.
Because it just constantly draws that power and constantly tries to run it. So you only really want to turn it on
just as you use it.
when you're going to use it, and then you got your switches up here. So we just sort of went with the bare minimum of what I'll need. So two 40 volts.
Yep.
So that a cigarette lighter.
You just got 4 USBs.
And then 4 USB for phones, GoPros.
Yeah, we just put it on a hinge, so that way...
Open it up, access it.
Yeah, so we basically just open it up. So we've got access to fusing. Obviously, that's pretty important. And then you don't want to completely like screw down to the point where you can't, get to things. If something, needs to be adjusted, or... It's mainly just for fusing, realistically. And there is a battery, like a little monitor on the screen, on top of the battery, rather.
Yeah.
That gives you like a percentage.
With all this material, because last time we saw it was just wood.
Yep.
What have you done here? Like, you got holes in it, you got carpet across it.
Yeah, we just use like a thin felt carpet. It's pretty easy to trim stuff, and it just makes it a bit more sort of visually pleasing.
The other thing I was gonna say, because we didn't mention this before, this was a last minute feature, was the shunt.
Yeah, that was definitely something that we overlooked initially, but we have now obviously rectified. But it's a Victron Bluetooth shunt, which is really cool. So you can set it up on your phone. It's pretty hard to see, but
Yeah, down in under there.
Yeah.
So what's that for?
so that's just for your monitoring as well. So a bit similar to the last setup that we've done. You can have an app on your phone. You can measure current going in, current going out, and just keep a general overview of everything from
So I
your
have
phone.
to download that app on my phone and
Yeah.
get that organised.
So we've got some fusing and stuff in here as well, so you can
Oh yeah.
change
them
fuses
if
really
need be.
easily. We've got a main fuse here, and then a mega. It's a mega fuse for the inverter.
Oh yeah, that's because you need massive fuses for those inverters, don't you? So what's the amps on the inverter one?
It's a 150 amp fuse.
Yeah.
Cabling's rated to about 180, and it's a 1200 watt inverter. So the power supply comes in. It'll go into the Victron DC-DC charger.
And what's the DC charger do?
So the DC-DC charger basically takes current from the start battery and from like what the alternator provides to the battery. It'll pull current in, and then it'll charge at the correct profile to suit whatever type of battery that you've put in.
Okay.
So in this case, we're doing a lithium fusion battery.
Once it goes to the battery, then what's it do?
Yeah, so from the battery, so we do have a main sort of like MIDI fuse for the DC-DC charger's output. One thing that we were talking about earlier is the shunted system. So every earth point basically goes back to the shunt, so it can monitor all the current going in and out. Because we've got that 1200 watt inverter, it does use quite a lot of juice. So we need larger cable so we don't get any volt drop issues or high resistance problems or anything like that. It actually runs through a main mega fuse, which is this one just here.
Yeah.
And then it supplies 12 volt to the inverter, and then from the inverter we come out to our GPOs, which are our 240 volt outlets. And then obviously we spoke about earlier about the switch to turn the inverter on and off.
So that's sort of your main outlay of where your power and energy runs and how it goes through the system and converts it and charges things and that.
And what we can do, we'll have a quick look in the car if you like. So we have done some work previous, like obviously setting the vehicle up to charge and run some lighting as well. So we've done main vehicle connection just here. So really heavy duty cabling so we don't get volt drop issues or anything like that. And then we've also done an Anderson plug connection. So we were talking about the lighting switch on the box before.
Yeah.
So that switch turns effectively that Anderson plug on the back of the box on, which will make this plug live, which then runs up behind the paneling. And if you sort of zoom in here,
Oh yeah, you've already pre-wired.
I've already pre-wired for some lighting. So we're going to put some drifter lighting up in the roof lining.
So we'll chuck this box in,
Yeah.
see how it all fits up.
Yep.
And obviously the idea behind this is it's going to be removable and where I can sit it if need be, but how we've built it is to fit in this spot here behind that seat, and it fits nice and tight and snug there, which worked out pretty good. Like it just fits, but it means it can't move or go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like once you close that door,
It's not going to go anywhere.
it's pretty
Once the
secured.
fridge-
And then once I put the fridge there next to it, you don't really need a bolt or tie it down. Like you've got the battery tied down all in it and everything. Once you close that door, because this seat sort of comes in, even if you flip the car,
Yeah.
realistically it can't actually go anywhere
I think
unless it tears that whole seat out.
Yeah. I think the pressure fit system of this is going to work pretty well. It's probably not the most like ideal thing that we try to do. Obviously, I love to bolt things down and make sure everything's 100% right. But with this system and the way that you want to be able to have everything removable or changeable for at a trip at a click of a finger.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier to do that.
Yeah,
it's just two connections electrically. So
when I came here, I said I got the most difficult job for you ever. So figure it out.
Yeah.
And that was. That was by far sort of the best idea, so I can take it out if I need the room, like pull a couple of Anderson plugs out, pull the whole thing out, and I can move it around, because the problem is, like, sometimes it's just me and my son going, or sometimes it's like 4 of us in the car, so you never know what's going on, so you just needed something that was interchangeable. And
I think it's worked out pretty good, and then you can have all your different devices that you want to charge. You can kind of sit on top.
Yeah, that was the other thing, which is cool. Made that little lip there, so you can you're saying even put a bit of felt on them, maybe, on your devices, and then actually hold them down there.
Yeah.
I'll show how it works here on the app. This is the Victron app, and then up comes the Smart Shunt, which is the one in the box there. Click on that and it connects up via Bluetooth. This is how I'm going to monitor the battery and charge going in and out. Probably have to run it through a couple of cycles so it sort of works out its maximum charge and stuff. It's just saying 100%, but I don't think it is. But it shows like your current, your power, what's consumed, your time remaining. You can get history on it. You can go through and make some changes on here. But say for example, if I turn on the inverter and there's some lights in there, then you can see it starts registering. It's showing what's going out of it. It's showing time remaining. You wouldn't actually get that time. As I said, it needs to run through a couple of charge cycles to sort itself out. But yeah, that's pretty cool how it'll all work from Bluetooth via the phone there. And then we've just started the car up now, and you can see once you got the car on, it's showing your current going in and your power going in. Because obviously before it had a minus, it meant going out. This is no minus, so that's what's going in. So it's a 30 amp hour charger, but it's saying that's bringing in 33.22 amps at the moment, or 452 watts. So that's just with the car sitting there idling. It's charging super quick.
You might not want to get close. We a little wild war, covered in tattoos. Run it up, taking all the views. Stepping on place, feeling the fear. I know you feeling it in the air. Whole squad wearing all black. Motivation's looking real bad. We back to the bone.
It's me in the future, just finishing editing this video, but I realized I didn't really do a wrap up, and there was a couple of extra points I wanted to cover, so I'm out in my garage at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night filming this. Sorry if the lighting and everything's bad, but we're heading around a trip soon. I need to get this video finished. I never actually showed in the video the lighting being finished and completed in the back of the Patrol, so I'll show that. I just got my head torch there giving a bit of light, but if I go over, flick the switch, and there's the lighting in the back. That one didn't come on, must be turned off. Yep, there it is. So you can turn them on and off at the thing, or you can just override the whole thing there, and you can see you got a yellow or a white option. So if I turn that head torch off, then you just got some nice lighting in the back of the Patrol there when you're at camp, which will light up this back area a bit. And if you're trying to get stuff out of the car, so much easier now. So that's awesome, having that lighting. I'm super stoked to that. The other thing we put in while we were doing all this was a new starter battery, and that was provided by Marine Battery Co., the same guys that provide some of the parts for the dual battery system. But something interesting, went with a lithium starter battery this time. I thought I'd give one a crack. Now people are going to say, well, it's lithium and the heat of an engine bay do not mix. But because it's specifically a starter battery, it's designed to handle the heat. And I've had it in for a couple of months now, and it's been great. Yeah, doing its job. No problems with it. Starts the car super quick, super well. There's all your features of it. So designed for Australian conditions, lithium, sealed design, all that stuff. Nothing too fancy, but I just did want to show that we put a new lithium starter battery in the Patrol, because the other one was getting fairly old. I didn't want to risk it anymore, and yeah, I wanted to try out a lithium. One of the awesome things is that battery is so much lighter than the one that came out of it. That is this video done, I think. I just wanted to show those last couple of extra parts. Massive thanks to Marine Battery Co., who helped me out with some of the gear for this build. So they gave me a discount code as well, which is Tyler10. So if you want anything off their website, and they've put together this whole package, they sort of helped me out with as well, or just anything you want off there, they got a heap of good gear. And massive thank you to Josh and the team at Hastings Auto Electrical, who sort of brought my idea to life here and this whole build. Do an amazing job there, and I'm super stoked with how it all came out. Alright, I'll see everyone in the next video.
You might not want to get close. We a little wild war, covered in tattoos. Run it up, taking all the views. Stepping on place, feeling the fear. I know you.
And then I've got 2 new parts, which were I'll just do like a intro to it type thing. Make sure the sound and everything's working. I'm trying to think where I ended the last one. Just to how to start this one. Boom, boom. It's me back again. But because it's alright, I reckon that's just about this video wrapped up. I just want alright, I reckon that.
Party till 5 in the morning. Do it again in the morning. Do it like we did this ride, man. I think the government watching. Minister perfect society. Struggling with my sobriety.